guys, this is your teacher Rachel Robinson here, and today I'm going to show you how to fill your color wheel with the real colors, the true colors of the color wheel, not the lies that you were originally taught. And I wanted to open up my layers list here to show you, and you should have your layers list open. So you're going to have your liquid ink layers, and you're going to have, in the last video, I showed you how to refine your lines that you created in whatever program you created them in. You either created it in Stetler or the Mandala GABA, or some of you found a program called Silk, which is fine, or some of you did it in class in Corel Painter. So anyways, all of those files you bring into Photoshop and you refine the lines. And in order to do that, you created a new layer to do that. And it actually showed you how to do that in the last video. So I labeled that new layer that I created of my refined lines, and I labeled it refined lines. How about that? And notice that I've locked all of my layers. The colors that we are going to use, I actually did this before I started the video so you could see the actual colors and where we're going with this. This is going to be your primary blue, which is actually a cyan. It's not blue, it's cyan. This is your primary magenta and your primary yellow. And in between each of the primaries you have 3 spaces. And so in the middle of the primaries you have a secondary, and in between a primary and a secondary, so in between a 1 and a 2, you have a 3, which is a tertiary color. So that's how that goes. Primaries, secondaries, tertiaries. And we always fill the primaries first, and then we do the secondaries, and then we do the tertiaries. Okay, don't try to do it like in a row like that. Instead, do primaries, and then the secondaries, and then the tertiaries. That's how you're going to get a really good result. Okay, so the other thing I did, because you need both a black and white mandala of this and you need a color one, I went up to image duplicate after I created my refined lines. I duplicated it, and so I made one say my full last name, whatever mandala version this was. I created 7 of them. And color wheel. And then my black and white one, I named my full last name with a space and then M7 and then BW for black and white. So every mandala, you're going to have 2 of them. One's black and white and one's color. And you'll upload both of those versions to your website. So that's going to give you 6 mandalas total. Only one of them has to be a color wheel. All right. So here we go. I'm going to hide my color layer and I'm going to show you what you need to do. So in order to lock your layers in Photoshop, of course, you have to click on a layer and then you lock it, but it won't let you lock it if the eyeball's closed. So I open the layer, I lock it, and I'm hiding it. Now you're not going to have this layer because you haven't done that yet, but you're going to make it right now. So I'm going to take my refined layers, my refined lines layer, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go to duplicate layer. And I'm going to call this refined layer lines color. And I have to name mine color 2. Whoops. Because I already have a color layer that you don't have. Okay. So I click OK. And the reason we do this, we're doing a non-destructive edit. So at any point, if we screw up this layer, we can always go back and get this layer again. We don't have to recreate our refined lines layer. So we're working non-destructively, which is super important. We are always labeling our layers. You'll get graded on that because that's a professional thing to do. It saves you time and money, and so you can be sitting on a beach somewhere rather than in your office trying to hunt for which layer is which when a client wants a change. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is teach you how to fill. So we're going to get our magic wand tool, which the key command for that is W. So that's easy. And I click on that top thing, and that is going to be my cyan blue. So that's a good cyan blue right there. And I am now going to get my fill tool, and the key command for that is G. So I come over here and I fill it with that blue. And remember that So this right up here stands for hue, saturation, and the B stands for how much black, but it should actually be a V as in Victor, not a B as in boy, because it's actually how much black you add to a color creates its value. So black and value are kind of the same thing. All right. So now we're going to get our magic wand and we are going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be my primary space for my yellow. So I get my yellow and I've got a co-pilot here with me while I'm doing a video. It's my puppy, Reginald P. Wigglebottom, and he really likes to squeak every time I say something he really likes. So that's what the squeaking is in the background. He's a little golden doodle. All right, so now I'm going to do the primary for the magenta. So I click on wand, I select that. So like 1, 2, 3. Remember, wand is W, that's easy to remember. And now we're going to get a rose red or rose pink right there. That is going to be your magenta. So the key command for the gradient tool is G, and I fill it. Great. So now I've got cyan, yellow, and magenta. All right, now we're going to fill with the secondary colors. Okay, so in between cyan and magenta, you have purple. And I think that's a pretty good purple right there, both up at 100. And I'm going to get my magic wand, W, select it, G, fill, and I've got that going. All right, and now I want to do the secondary color between magenta and yellow is an orange. So I get orange and I get my magic wand, fill it with the G. There we go. Got magenta or orange. I think I'm going to scoot it a little bit more orange right there. There. Okay, that's orange. All right. And now in between yellow and cyan, we have a green, a big, nice green. So I click on wand, select it, click on G, fill it. Okay, Reggie is really liking what I'm doing here with his squeaky. And so now I'm now going to do the tertiary colors because a 1 plus a 2 equals a 3, always. And so here we go. I'm going to select this. So in between cyan and green is a turquoise green. And hopefully this will translate in the video and you can really see the difference between this, this, and this. Hopefully that'll work out. Okay, sometimes the colors shift when they get posted to the web, especially if I change the file type to a PNG, which I have to do for still images. So colors do shift when you post them to the web. All right, and in between the green and the yellow, we have a yellow green. And I'm hoping that that will be will show up as well. So now I get my gradient and I fill that with yellow green. I'm going to go a little bit more yellow there. There. Okay, so now there should be a clear distinction between green, green, and yellow. And now in between the yellow and the orange, we have a yellow-orange. Reggie's super excited about that. All right, so I click with my W and my G for fill, and I've got more of a yellow-orange. In fact, I could even go right there, kind of a pumpkin-y color. All right, and now in between orange and magenta, you've got it, I've got red. So I select that with my wand, and then I click G and fill. So we used to think of this as a primary red, but really we now know that that is actually a tertiary color. Okay, not a primary. Okay, and in between this magenta and purple, we have a lovely magenta violet. So I select it, fill it, right on. All right, in between purple and cyan, we have what we used to think of as a primary blue, but we now know it isn't. So we click there and then click there, and now we have an ultramarine blue right there, which is also known as a blue violet. Okay, so those are the basic colors of the color wheel. On the next video, I'm going to show you how to fill the rest of the information into the spaces. So hang on for that.